Hey, hey, good morning or afternoon or whatever time it is, wherever you are. I feel like I need some theme music or something to start my Facebook Live, or maybe I should watch other people's and see how they started. Anyway, so you hear all the time, right? You have to be active on social media. I talk about it all the time. I know that most of the experts talk about it all the time because it is the place to connect with your customers. But there's so many platforms, right? There's Facebook and Instagram and Pinterest and LinkedIn and a million others. So to help kind of alleviate some of that confusion, or even just wanting to educate yourself more about the social media channels, every week in August, I'm going to be chatting about the nitty-gritty about a different platform. So this week, obviously, is Facebook. Next week will probably be Instagram, and then we'll go on through the rest of the month. I'm so passionate about social media and how it can help grow your business. But it doesn't have to be overwhelming, and it doesn't have to be something that is a necessary evil, if you will. And it can, if you're using it consistently and it's cohesive, it can be something that actually is going to bring in sales too, which is ultimately what we all want as entrepreneurs, right? Hey, Heather. Hey, Lark. Thank you so much for joining. Okay, so a couple of housekeeping items before we get started. If this is a topic that speaks to you, or you feel like maybe there is someone in your network or your tribe that you feel like would benefit from this, please share. I would so love to have just the opportunity to educate those around you about social media, because I'm so passionate about it. And then the other thing is, if you're interested in the show notes, go ahead and just say live down below, and I'll get them sent over to you right away. The blog is already up, so we will just link you right to the blog. Okay, I think that is all. Yes. So I am Christy Hansbeck of Simply Online, and I'm an entrepreneur secret weapon. I teach entrepreneurs how to repurpose their content for maximum visibility online. And then we also have done for you services. But either way, to help you maximize your presence online, you will increase your revenue and your sales. So that is really the whole goal of social media, right? So, and thank you for engaging in the chat with me too. All right, so let's chat about social media. Before I dive right into Facebook, I want to give just a little bit of background, I guess, about it, why I feel like social media is relevant, and why I think it's so important that you're on it. So first, obviously, it's going to help you connect with your customers. There's 3 billion plus people around the world on social media. It's not a passing trend. It's here to stay. If anything, it's just going to continue to increase. So it's important that you're there so that your customers can connect with you. It's going to increase awareness about your brand. If people don't know about you, they can't become your customers, right? So social media is going to help you reach more people quicker. It's easier for people to share stuff with their friends because they can just hit that one little button. It counts as one of the touch points in the sales process. So depending on who you're talking to, it's somewhere in between, like, I would say 9 and 11 touch points before someone will employ your company or reach out to you for a quote. So social media is going to help you with those touch points along the way. Hey, Ashley, thanks for jumping on. It's going to count towards those touch points. So that's what's great about social media, is then you're not having to send as many emails. You're not having to do as many phone calls, because it counts as those touch points. Okay, it's going to communicate authority. So people want to know that you know your stuff. They're looking at your social media platforms to find out more about your business. So the more you can share your expertise, the quicker that sales cycle can be. The other thing that I feel like social media is really good for is to encourage engagement. People want to chat with you and your brand. They really do. It's how they build rapport with you. So if you aren't posting, you're not giving them that opportunity to engage and to learn about you and ask questions and share about you with their friends. So That's why I feel like it's so, so important. Social media can be hard to track the ROI. Just because it is one touch point in the sales process. Sometimes people don't say, oh yeah, I heard about you on Facebook. So it's hard to trace like the original starting point of that, but it's still important to have your presence. A couple weeks ago, I shared my analytics with you and showed you just by doing this Facebook Live, or not doing this Facebook Live for a couple of weeks, how much it affected my overall numbers. So let's chat about what a couple of tips to be successful really quickly, and then I'll dive into Facebook. So you have to be active. Social media is about being social. I'm obviously all about outsourcing because I'm an outsourced company, but you have to be active as well. So one of the things that we do with our clients is that we give them a list of everything that they need to be doing every week on social media, and then we manage the postings. So we're managing the consistency, and then we're guiding them to manage being social on there, so that it's a lot less of a burden to just have to jump on and talk to people than doing all the postings as well. Don't make it all about you. If you want people to listen, you have to answer their questions. You have to speak to them. You have to make them feel heard. And the more you get doing that, the easier that is. Use a variety of different mediums. This is the beauty of repurposing, is that there are so many different types of mediums that you can use for one piece of content. And mixing it up is going to keep people's attention. So that's awesome too. And then the last thing is be consistent with your brand. No matter what platform you're on, people should look and feel, your platform or your website should look and feel the same across the board. So you should have the same voice, the same fonts, the same colors, the same messages, like just all across the board, so that it is cohesive, because that is super, super important. Okay, let's jump in. Why Facebook? Let me change that little thing. There we go. Obviously, Facebook's one of the bigger platforms. Over 2 billion people use it every single month, which is a ton of people. One of the facts I found most interesting is that 1 million links are shared every 20 minutes. So if you think about that, and the content that you're putting out and the content that your audience is seeing every single day, they're seeing a lot of stuff, which is why it's important that yours stands out, that it's cohesive, that you have a clear message in it so that people can connect with it. Facebook Live is still the best way to increase your rank in the algorithm, and we are going to talk about that more in a little bit, but I just wanted to point that out. You should be posting regularly to your business page. Facebook really does shut down personal pages that are being used 100% for business. You can always post to your business page and then share to your personal page, but it's important that you have a presence on your business page. So kind of a quick and dirty rule that I like to follow is that 20% of my personal page should be business, and then 20% of my business page should be personal. So kind of follow that 80-20 rule that seems to apply to so many things in business, just so you can get an idea of the postings and how you should be doing that. You really do need a presence on Facebook. Even if it's not the main focus of your marketing plan, you need to have a presence there. And Facebook does work well with Google, and so it's going to increase your SEO rankings, which you don't need to know all the logistics and how that works. Just know that the more you're posting, the better it is for you ranking-wise. So how often should you be posting to Facebook? This is probably one of the bigger questions that I always get when I talk about social media. My recommendation is always post daily to start. You have to know, but you have to know what your audience will respond to. So it's important that you're watching your analytics. And keep in mind that posting daily can be a mix of like stories, live video, and regular posts. And the more you do it, the more you're going to feel comfortable with it. For me, I don't need to post every single day to Facebook as long as I'm doing Facebook Live. On the weeks that I miss my Facebook Live, then I have to post more. to Facebook to keep my traction with the algorithm. But for me, I only have to post to Facebook about 2 or 3 times a week and then also do Facebook Live. I want you to keep in mind, that is something that took me time to figure out. I mean, I've been doing this for years, and so it's taken me a while to figure out, but now that I know, it makes it a lot easier. So my recommendation here would be post consistently for a month and then see where you need to adjust. More than anything, consistency is going to be most important. Like, more than what days to post on, what times to post on, really focus on your consistency, and then you can look at your analytics in a couple of months and worry about those nitty-gritty details. You can also hire companies to help you figure out the best times to post for you. But consistency, and just, if you can, start with daily, Monday through Friday. So next, Facebook Live. Obviously, I like this. No, just kidding. It's taken me a long time to get comfortable with Facebook Live, but now I feel like I finally am getting there. My recommendation here, use it weekly. Repurposing works great with Facebook Live, with using using the strategy of Facebook Live every single week, because you can reuse that favorite content. So there's a bunch of examples in my course, Multiply Your Message Blueprint, on how to do it. If that's something you're interested in, go ahead and let me know below, and I can send you the information about it. I'm getting ready to relaunch that at the end of the month. So I'm really excited about that. But the purpose of that is, then once you have the video, then you can transcribe it and turn it into a blog post. It can be multiple social media posts. You can chop it up and put it in your Facebook stories, which we'll talk about that in a minute. You can put links to it in your newsletter. Like, there's so many ways you can reuse that video that I would actually encourage you to do. So make sure, if you are recording Facebook Live, that you're not just recording it and letting it sit. Make sure that you're also using it to do other things or converting it into other type of content. The great thing about Facebook Live, if you are not comfortable with it, work your way into it. Seriously. When I started, I was terrified of it. And it took everything in me to do it even like once a month. But then I worked my way up to twice a month, and then 3 times, and now I do it weekly. And that is just what I have figured out works really well for me, not only for like rankings with the algorithm, but also with my schedule, because that's super important too, is to make sure that it fits in with your schedule and what you are trying to accomplish with your business. So for me, weekly works really well. If you are not comfortable with video, there's a couple of things you can do. 1, practice, like video chat with your family, or video chat to your business bestie, or to your spouse or your kids, something that where you're talking on video to yourself and getting comfortable. The other thing you can do is you can start a Facebook Live and change the settings so that it's private. And so it says, who can view this? You change it to only me. And then when you go live, nobody can see it. It's only you. But that's a good way to practice and get comfortable with like the technology and the video. A lot of times too, I have a friend that she has a group that is actually just her and her husband. And she goes live in her group when she feels like she needs to practice it, because then it's just her and her husband that sees it. So those are a couple of ideas of things that you can do to get comfortable with it. Know that it is not going to be perfect first time out of the gate. It will probably take months and months unless you're really comfortable right off the bat. I am not that way. It took me time to build up to it. But make sure you're practicing and getting comfortable with it. Okay, last thing I wanted to chat about was Facebook stories. So here, this is something that is growing more and more. Right now, or the last statistic I read, was 150 million daily active users. Again, so much content, so many people. It really does provide the best opportunity to grow engagement, build your brand awareness, strengthen your relationships. It's the best place to show like your day-to-day, what you're doing day-to-day. It's still planned, but it's not as planned as like your Facebook Lives, maybe. It's prime real estate because it's at the top. Like, the very first thing people see when they log in is all those little chat bubbles. So it's prime real estate. People are going to see that over like your business page or your personal posts. What to post there? You can do your new blog posts. You can do important events or announcements. There's so many like stickers and options that you can do, questions and polls and fundraisers, and look at the stickers and be interactive with your audience there. Behind the scenes is a great thing to do. That's where I often put stuff about my family. If you're at events or you're traveling, great place to show it, especially if you're traveling somewhere nice and you have tons and tons of pictures. If you have big projects, it's a great place to highlight your team. That we do that often for clients, is highlight their team in stories, and that's something that works really well. Another thing is testimonials, whether they're written or video. That's a great place to put them too. So I also like to announce my Facebook Live in my stories, like 15 minutes before I go live, just so that it's another way to let people know that I'm going live. It's just kind of another way to get them over to my page. So, and that really works really well for me too. How often do you post there? If you are just starting, it's brand new, I would start with like 3 to 5 times a week. But again, work your way up to daily. That's the ultimate goal, is to do it daily. Now, I'll be honest, I don't even use it daily. I have to, let me find my calendar. I have this calendar that I print out. You can see it. And all my colors mean something different. But I have to do that so that I kind of force myself to do it, because I forget, or I get distracted or caught up in my day, and then I forget to do stories. So for me, if I have it planned out, everything written out, I'm more likely to do it. So that's kind of how I keep track of mine. But again, work your way up to it. The biggest thing is consistency. And if for the first couple of months you can only be consistent 1 or 2 times a week, then that's great. Do that. And then the next month, maybe try to be consistent 3 times a week, to where you're doing it Monday, Wednesday, Friday. In my opinion, consistency is going to outdo anything else. It's just being consistent. Heather, I can share my calendar with you so you can see all my colors and what they all mean. It's taken me a long time to get a system that works for me, and that's easy for me to plan, and I think I'm finally there. So anyway, I hope you learned something about Facebook today. If you have other questions, feel free to reach out. I'm happy to answer them. I will be back again next week at 11:30 Mountain Time on Wednesday, and we'll be chatting about Instagram. So I hope that you can join us, and have a great afternoon. Bye.